I wonder what it's like to be an orphan. Not that I want it to be, but I wonder what it's like. See, I had no father growing up, but I had a mother. I wonder what it's like to have been fully abandoned. Is it harder or is it easier? The very fact that you didn't know your parents might give you um, some imaginative room, if you will, to come up with excuses for them. Oh, they wanted a better life for me, or they just couldn't, or blah 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 blah. But or whatever the reason behind their act of abandonment, that act was, or beneath that act lies some form of love. With me, I just knew that my father left. It wasn't out of love. It wasn't even out of spite. He didn't, for whatever reason, he didn't want to be my father. I don't think he knows. See, I've met my dad and I've talked with him, and um, what's the interesting thing too is like he wasn't in my life before I was, say, 20. I only saw him my entire life. Like, if you're gonna add up all of the days, maybe less than a week. Outside of those first few months that he pretended that he was gonna stay before stealing all my mom's money, dipping the fuck out, cheating on her. But yeah, cause he wasn't in my, wasn't a part of my life, but he was kind of orbiting me in this weird way, almost like he was taunting me. Like, I'm going off, I'm doing all these things, I'm meeting these women, you know, them and I are talking about having kids, starting a family, then he breaks up with, he's like going and doing all this different stuff. And it was always abundantly clear that it was without me. Maybe that's a selfish desire, but I think it's fair to be a little selfish in that respect. As a kid, I wanted my dad. So I wonder in that sense what it's like to be an orphan or a foster kid. And let's say hypothetically you find a home that's loving. I knew this couple of kids who they were adopted and they'd gone through the foster system, and there was an older brother and a younger brother, and they found this well, I was gonna say a good home, but well, it got rough there at the end, allegedly. But they found this home that at the time was very loving and very conducive to a healthy childhood, and um, uh, unfortunately, it got marred by religious ideology, and events took place that ended up, I feel like, well, one of the younger brother as well. I'm going off on a side thing here, but the younger brother had some sort of behavioral issue, and that was evident. It seems as though his mother had been um, consuming some sort of substance while he was in the womb, and he, at least that's what my family told me at the time. So who fucking knows? But he was always had this behavioral problem. He was always very angry, easy to, also very malicious and kind of evil actually. But I got along with him nonetheless. And then his older brother and I were really close when we were kids. But his older brother was a sweetheart. Um, but yeah, they had this seemingly loving home, and they were always I would always talk to them about, like, oh, don't you want to know your parents, like, and they're like, no, we know that for whatever reason they gave me away. It came from a place of love, and I remember thinking at the time that I couldn't say that about my father. Yeah. I wonder if I'd had the guts to be a dad, or if I'd run away, what would happen? Hopefully I never have to find that out, but, and I've, of course, right now I want to say, oh, I'd stick around. But that's what every person says when you ask them that question. Who doesn't say that? Yeah. But, yeah. And then they have a kid and they realize, for whatever reason, they gotta get the fuck out of there. That literally half of themselves is too much a burden. Maybe it's, I don't know, too close to being a mirror, or maybe it makes you realize that you aren't even really taking care of yourself. Anyways, I'm done.